excited to have a friend, but also a colleague in ministry, Pastor Eugene Kitney. Known Eugene for 6+ years.
Yeah, roughly.
When he came to the Texas conference. But if you hear Eugene speak, you can tell immediately he's not from Texas. So where are you from originally?
I'm from the South.
You're from the South,
Yeah,
okay.
The real South. Originally from South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, born and raised.
So how did you end up here in the United States from South Africa? 'Cause that's a long ways away.
Yeah, so I'm going to quickly summarize 22 hours worth of talk for you. I got a job. I got an offer to come over and be a Boys Dina chaplain at a school out in West Virginia. And once you get your foot in the door, then I fell in love with an American.
There you go.
I think that kept me.
That's right.
I came on a 2-year visa, and next month it's going to be 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So West Virginia, that's quite an introduction to the United States, to live in any part of West Virginia, but I know where the school was.
I woke up the next morning and I looked out the window and I said, this is not America I saw in the movies. How do I get back? But I fell in love with West Virginia. It really is almost heaven, as they say.
It is. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
It gets a bad rap for those of us from the Northeast. So then, how did you end up in pastoral ministry?
Well, pastoral ministry really happened before that. While in South Africa, I felt the call to ministry, which is a whole different interview all in of itself. But in taking on the role of chaplaincy and then eventually deciding to complete more studies, the union picked me up. At least he's in the union now, Dave Weigley. Mm-hmm. And he said, you're not a chaplain, you're a pastor, and this is where I see you. Get your resume out to you. And, went to Potomac and full-time ministry, and here I am.
Now, you are an alum of Columbia Union College, which is my alma mater.
Sir. Yes,
you were there
sir.
a couple years after I was there.
Yeah, I felt the call a little bit later than you.
That's all right. That's all right. Interestingly enough, Eugene is 10 days younger than I am. Now, obviously, he looks 10 years younger than I am, but yeah, we share the same birth month in June.
There you go.
But CUC, and then you were in Potomac for how long in Potomac?
8 years in Potomac.
Okay.
Yeah, then Wisconsin Conference, and then finally I saw the light, and now I'm in Texas.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got tired of Milwaukee winters.
Oh, don't get me started. Yeah. No, I love Texas winters. I love Texas summers. I love Texas.
And so when you came to Texas, where were you?
Well, started out in Pflugerville, Central Texas, Austin area, and had the honor and privilege of having you install me there.
I did. That was the first time we really crossed paths, and we've kept in touch through pastors' meetings and all that kind of stuff. And so then we opened up this campus idea of Lewisville. We're calling it Arlington Adventist Church Lewisville campus. What made you want to be a campus pastor as opposed to what we would consider a traditional pastor?
And I think it's being at CUC, studying metropolitan ministries, I realized there's a need for a different way of reaching people than the traditional method. And I found that within the traditional method, there is a stringent set of rules, if you will, which doesn't always allow or facilitate for grace and for acceptance. And I realized that this campus ministry, especially being in connection with Arlington, has this vision of acceptance and of love. And if we can replicate that where we are, it will empower people to have that mindset in the way they live. So if we can just get more and more people to love each other the way Christ tells us to treat each other as brothers and sisters, it becomes contagious. And that's how it starts happening. So developing relationships, developing rapport with people, and being a part of the Arlington Church, I think is going to help us and empower us to do just that. And I'm already starting to see it.
We as the pastoral team here, you fit very well in with our ethos, but also personality. We love to joke around. I mean, it's just you fit in well with the rest of our pastoral team. But I think you're exactly what the Lewisville campus was looking for, because I think God put you in the right place at the right time to really help us take this to the next step. Because the reality is, we're not exactly sure how to do all this. There have been multi-campuses within the Adventist church that are church plants, completely new church. I don't think it's been done with a church that's already been established, much like the Lewisville congregation.
And I think that's why we are going to take the attitude of seeing ourselves as a plant. So we're going to have to go back to basics and have to restructure ourselves. So it's going to be a whole new way of thinking. It's going to be a whole new approach to things. And the nice thing is most of the congregation so far is sold on that concept of being willing to take a step back in order to go forward. Sure. And so I'm hoping that we can continue to educate, continue to foster this mindset of being who God has called us to be, rather than fitting into a specific mold that we think we should be in.
And one of the things that is unique about being a campus pastor is most Sabbaths you are not preaching.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get used to that.
That I'm sure. It's, as pastors, we're trained to preach, and
that's right.
We like to preach and all that kind of stuff. But as we talked, through the interview process and all that, that was one of those things that we said, you know what, you'll preach some, but a vast majority of the time it's going to be beaming in or, webcasting in the service, specifically the sermon, from main campus here in Arlington. Right. What's it been like? I know you've preached a little bit, but what's it kind of been like as you've transitioned to this new role?
Well, it's been an adjustment for me. It's been an adjustment for my family and adjustment for the congregation. But I think everybody's slowly getting used to it. My family's getting more used to the idea of me being more around and available than sitting and prepping and working, which also now gives me time to visit more and to be able to reach out to my congregation more than I have been, because I've always been studying and prepping, preaching every single Sabbath. So the dynamics have shifted, but ministry is still the same.
Right.
We're all here to reach out. We're all here to make a difference in people's lives. And so we just taking a different route, but ministry is still taking a lot of my time, but I'm more available to more of the people that need me to be available, while I'm getting blessed by being able to hear a good sermon too. So that is a bonus.
So speaking of being busy, one of the other things that you're focusing on right now is your Doctor of Ministry project.
Yeah.
Share a little bit about what that's going to look like in terms of how that works together with the campus pastor role that you have.
Yeah. Well, my main focus is relational evangelism. So we're really looking at, instead of doing traditional evangelism, if each person just reached out to another person. Mm-hmm. So imagine any congregation of any size, each person invited one. Or even if you want to scale it down and say if each household just brought in one, what the dynamic could look like in your congregation when those numbers start getting baptized, when relationships are built and conversions are taking place. Right. So if we just start changing our mindset to caring for even just one, because it's very daunting if I tell you, well, I need you to go and do big tent revival. It's true. I don't like it.
Right.
But if you tell me, do you know one person that you could ask? Person at work, person at school, person at the record club, wherever. It's easy to invite somebody to come and play soccer with you or to come and play racquetball with you because you already have rapport, and introduce them and make a connection to another church member that does the same sport or the same activity. And you build relationships to the point where they are comfortable enough to come and attend something more spiritual. It's a long game.
Sure.
But man, relationships is where it's at.
So what it helps people understand is that ministry is not something that just is done by the pastor. Ministry is done by everybody, but it's not necessarily here's a tract or here's a Bible study. Exactly. It's relationship. And we love relationship. We love building those relationships. We have people in our neighborhoods where I live that I'm the only one who can create that relationship with them. I can't expect, the other pastors that's where God has planted me. And I think if we help people just realize how easy that is, that it's.
That's the beauty of it. Kids can do it.
Yes.
Anybody can do it. So how can you beat that?
So I'm also interested, we're excited that your wife, Michele, and Lauren, your daughter, is a part of this team.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit more about your lovely wife and your beautiful daughter.
Oh, there's not enough time for all of
Oh, no.
Wife is currently working as a lab tech, but she just graduated a couple of months back with her degree in counseling, so she's trying to get her hours sorted out so she can go into full-time counseling. She's very supportive of ministry. Obviously, she didn't want to marry a pastor, but God has a sense of humor too. And we've got this beautiful daughter, Lauren, that I can't believe she's already 11 years old, but she's the apple of our eyes. She's very supportive of ministry too, and usually ends up coming with me to a lot of ministry appointments and events, and very supportive. People love her, and she and herself have given Bible studies already in giving testimony of how good God has been to her. So I'm not claiming she's going to be a pastor evangelist one day, but she's already starting by building relationships. Yeah,
she is just a great kid. And I'm not saying this because you're sitting next to me, but the first time I met her, in these last couple of months, she 6 years ago she was small. Mm-hmm. Just an interesting young lady that she has her own YouTube channel, which I think is really cool. I mean, she's just very creative. I'm excited to see where God takes her, because I think God has given her some amazing talents. And like I said, Michele has just this aura about her that just is so loving and welcoming. My sense is there's very few people she meets that don't like her or that she doesn't like. I mean,
churches and people love her far more than they love me.
I can believe that.
I'm trying to learn from. Hey, be nice.
Hey, we're friends.
I get it, and I think that's why our relationship works out so well. We complement each other, and she helps soften things up because I'm not the softest appearing guy. So she softens people up to have them understand that they can easily approach me. Right. I'm a big teddy bear.
You are. So interestingly enough, one of your interests, which you have a number of interests, but I want to talk a little bit about the martial arts, because I think that has been a part of who you have been over the course of many years. Talk a little bit about your martial art training and also how you see that translating into being used for ministry.
Yeah, since I started as a pastor, I used martial arts as a ministry vehicle, in that, we break the traditional meditation mold within the martial arts, and we've given people opportunities to share what's going on in their lives, and asking for either for prayer or some input from the wise sensei about how to deal with things. And a lot of times people would bring up things when they said, well, we know you're a pastor, could you help? Like, yeah, I think I could be sitting down with you, but let's train now, and tomorrow night I'll meet you at your house. Awesome. And martial arts has given me inroads into people's homes far more than evangelism or tracts or any mailing lists I've ever done. And at the same time, it's a way to stay strong and to build more relationships.
One of the exciting things about the Lewisville campus is they are bought into this idea of relationship ministry.
That's right.
And it's going to be fun to see, and you're going to see a lot more of Eugene. And one day when we get a little bigger set here, we'll get Michele and Lauren on here, because again, they have some great stories to tell. But I'm excited to see what God has done in getting us to this point. Yeah. It's been over a year since we first started the discussion with the Lewisville Church about becoming campus of Arlington, but also excited to see kind of how God is going to use you as the campus pastor and the leadership team up there to make amazing strides in the community of being the hands and feet of Jesus and showing his love. So Eugene, I'm looking forward to many years of ministry alongside of you.
I pray so.
And look forward to our congregation seeing you more into the future. You'll be preaching YG here in a couple of weeks, which I'm excited for. But looking forward to seeing what God is going to continue to do. So Eugene, thanks for coming on Arlington Life. And we know this will be one of many times that you'll be on.
Appreciate it and look forward to it.